Thank you.
Brooks, credit for this, Mr. President, you or Trump?
Is that a joke? Oh, thank you.
If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is.
Thank you.
Brooks, credit for this, Mr. President.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. So who do you think got the hostages released? If you're a Democrat and you hate Trump, I'm betting you probably think it was because of years of long negotiation between Biden and his team. But, I mean, if you have a rational, functioning brain and somebody like Donald Trump, a maverick, a wild card, comes in and goes, if you do not have those hostages released, all hell's going to break loose. Do you believe
President,
him
you or Trump?
or again, this? How many times have I told you folks this? Democrats don't know how to negotiate. They literally walk up to the poker table with their cards out like this, going, "Oh, well, this is how we can play them. So how do you think we should play them? A political opponent or rival country?" And they go, well, we know how we play our cards. We're not going to tell you how you should play them, but now at least we know your hand, so we know how we can play our hand. That is what Joe Biden did the entire time during the hostage negotiations. For his entire tenure since October 7th of what, a year or two ago? And now Trump walks in and goes, release the hostages or there's going to be hell to pay. And Hamas is like, oh, okay, we're done. Again, because Muslims, they only respect strength. I mean, if you go back throughout history, you realize that Muslims only respect strength. I mean, Thomas Jefferson, we're talking about the president that hated pirates so much, he founded the largest navy in the world, the American Navy. Sent the Marine Corps over there to stop Muslim pirate ships from raiding American ships on trade routes. Overthrew multiple governments. And then finally they were all like, you know what, we're done. You know what, we're not going to raid American ships anymore. It was the same in the Crusades. The Crusades were a defensive war. Muslims had been aggressively expanding into Europe. They were on the gates of Constantinople. And then they were like, hey, if we don't do something right now, Christendom will fall. And the Pope united all of the warring European countries. We're talking France, Germany, the UK. or
places, countries that weren't even Catholic.
Yeah. They're like, yep, absolutely. We will all go down there and save the religion. So again, what did they do? They respected the strength of people going down there. They only respect strength. They only respect power. So again, Joe Biden sat there pissing his hands for, a year and a half to 2 years, not doing anything about the American hostages and the Israeli hostages that are there. Like I said, again, I'm far more concerned about the American hostages that are there. But yeah, I mean, and then Trump comes in and goes, you're gonna release them or there's gonna be hell to pay. Who do you think did it? It's like everyone's like going, way to go, Joe, you did it. And this is like giving the special kid, the participation trophy. That's what's happening here. If you're clapping for Joe Biden saying that he's the one that did this, you're a participation trophy award kid. That's who you are.
I mean, even the hosts, whoever this girl is, like gave Trump the credit. She said she's going to wear a MAGA hat if he actually gets it done, which you best get ready to wear your MAGA hat. We'll watch this.
Well, no,
quick.
I promise you, go ahead. We'll watch it and I'll catch you on the tail end.
Single thing, a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah.
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
And then she'll knock it right off my head. But like you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing.
Well,
Let me single thing.
Okay, so here's the token pretty girl on The View, the token pseudo-Republican pretty girl on The View. And like I said, she's a rhino. She's Republican in name only.
She's still an anti-Trumper.
Yeah. But I guarantee you, the View hosts are going to be like, Trump didn't do that. Biden did that. Biden's still the president. He's the one that did it. But it's Trump's rhetoric that got them. It's like if you have a little brother or a mouthy friend, and the only reason they're mouthy is because their big brother's standing behind them, knowing that the kids groups that he's challenging or mouthing off to isn't going to do anything because big brother's going to step in if something happens to little brother. Mm-hmm. Trump is the big brother in this metaphor, and Biden's the little brother. So there you go, man.
Yep. But since we called this episode Biden bye, figured it was appropriate, so we're going to go over his little commencement or his farewell address to the nation. So
Yeah, we'll pick it apart piece by piece.
absolutely. Let me get the multi-screen on here, and we're good to go. All right, you ready?
Ready?
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be.
If you're unsure or unaware
Of course. Again, Joe Biden taking credit for the rhetoric of Donald Trump. Now, again, I'm not going to say that there weren't negotiations being had in the background, but what authority and what leverage did they actually have? Like, what were they saying? What were they doing? And if Biden's, whoever he had in that, negotiation position
Working
was so
together as
good,
Americans.
why weren't they released the day after October 7th?
Mm-hmm.
Again, could you imagine being held hostage for over a year or two? I mean, I know, again, this is like, Democrats. Remember, there was a situation very similar to this in Iran. The U.S. embassy stormed in Iran back in the 70s during Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter let the Iranians hold American citizens hostage in American sovereign territory, an American embassy in Iran. Didn't do anything. They were there for months. If you remember the movie Argo, that's what the movie Argo was about. The ones that got out lived in the Canadian, minister's house or the Canadian ambassador's house for several months until, the CIA operative went in there as a movie scout to
Get them
out.
expel them, yeah. Exactly.
So there you go, folks. I mean, how sad is that?
Yeah.
And this is exactly, it's no different other than the fact that, well, I guess it is quite a bit different because, these were people who were in Israel, were kidnapped, taken into Palestine.
Yeah. It's completely different.
And being held hostage
Yeah.
and treated like crap. Like, oh, you're an American. We
Exactly.
have bargaining chips to scare America.
Exactly. This is them going into another nation. Because Israel's another nation than Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
So they went into another nation and took American hostages. So ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And then the counter argument for Muslims be like, well, it's fine because Jesus was a Palestinian.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get back to the video.
This will be my final address to you from the American people from the
Thank
Oval Office,
God.
from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe
Press
more
X
importantly,
to
who we
doubt.
should be.
Thinking. He hasn't been doing much
Long
of that.
ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves.
Some
She was built
intern
to
wrote
sway
this
back
thinking
and
it was
forth
profound.
To stand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering
Now, that's
marvel.
something I want to talk about right there,
What?
regarding climate change. She has not, remember we talked about this the other day, she's still in the exact same spot she was, however hundreds of years ago that we got it.
Yeah.
She's not underwater yet. So where's the climate change here?
Yeah.
And he starts talking about climate change here in a minute.
Gosh.
It's kind of a foreshadowing moment for us.
The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart. And yet, through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force. A nation of immigrants came to build a better life. A nation holding the torch of the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world.
Notice how he put in, our ancestors came in and took it by force.
Yeah.
That was definitely hamstrung in there. And then 2, it's like we're a nation of immigrants. Well, what if, and we're a nation of dreamers, what if those dreamers are attacking and killing our citizens and or doing illegal activities here? Are they still dreamers?
Again, he's hitting all of the Democratic talking points in a metaphorical way. You know, it's like, oh, these are all that. Again, you know, some intern is fellatiating themselves, going, oh, I'm so good at this. I can't wait to get. I'm going to be the next writer for Barack Obama. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That all of us are created equal. That all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness. That democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example.
What?
Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency, the Congress.
Yeah, wait, dude. There are more commercials in this than anything, bro.
It's amazing you don't have any of these commercials on your phone, but the minute you pull up on here and you start criticizing the president, the commercials start popping in. Hey, YouTube. But yeah, no, I mean, again,
The court.
this is a whole bunch of saying nothing.
Free and independent press.
But I mean, I guess it kind of sums up his entire presidency.
Yeah, it really does. And here now he's getting ready to talk about a free press. We're talking about the guy who called Mark Zuckerberg and said, hey, I need you to censor Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about free speech, he's talking about free press. And like what he means by free press is press that is on his side and says his talking points.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Press. Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances. It may not be perfect.
What about
It's
those
maintained our
sweeping
democracy
pardons you
for nearly
gave?
250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years, our democracy has held strong. And every day I kept my commitment to be president.
You've done
for
your best
all
to
Americans
destroy it, in my opinion.
through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life
Press X to
to
doubt.
see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic. The heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe.
And if you weren't an essential worker, F you, you're going to be in your house and you're going to be driven into poverty.
You'll eat the bugs, you'll be happy, you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, Kamala Harris, again, you remember the whole Call Her Daddy podcast she went on? She didn't go to that girl's podcast. They rebuilt her studio in a hotel room in Washington.
Yeah. Like, if
Talk about a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Yeah. It's astroturfing. They literally have like made astroturfing into a real thing regarding politicians. The Democratic Party has. I mean, literally, they rebuilt an entire studio instead of, hey, why don't you just fly down to her? Same thing with Joe Rogan. She literally denied Joe Rogan because she's like, we'll just rebuild your studio here and
then we'll be able to cut and edit it and make it look as good as possible. And he's like, no, it's going to be a live show in my studio. And they're like, nope.
Exactly.
If we can't control the outcome, we're not going to do it.
Yep.
And again, this is the Democrat Party, the party of wag the dog. Watch the movie Wag the Dog, and it's a perfect synopsis or analogy of the entire Democratic Party today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was based off of like Bill Clinton's like
Sex scandal with Monica Lewinsky.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but they never said that officially because they're like they wanted to make a good movie.
The determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products.
Is that why you're
Together,
importing an immigrant
we've
class
launched
to
a new
do
era
cheap
of
labor?
American possibilities.
Yeah.
One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American.
Except for when Elon Musk sends all those Starlinks out there, you have them sent away.
And now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America.
He's not a
where they
preferred
belong,
government vendor.
creating thousands of jobs.
Okay, and also that whole chip
Finally.
thing, that was Trump that said to do that back
Yeah.
when the Taiwan thing first happened. He's like, yeah, we need to start processing and building stuff here again.
Yeah.
Giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices.
Okay,
From
Medicare said the government getting involved in the healthcare industry is literally what's causing prices to skyrocket. That's the problem right now. That kid killed the dude because government involvement in healthcare. Obamacare has literally ruined the healthcare industry.
Yes.
Millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime
I'm very
to
confused by that. What gun safety laws did they pass? I'm not aware of any. And you're talking to like guys who are like 2A advocate gun nuts.
Yeah.
Like the last one I remember being passed was Trump's bump stock ban, and we disagreed heavily with that too because all it is it's a device. It's not an actual weapon.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's talking about. What gun regulation he's done.
Yeah. Same here.
There's been more tranny and LGBTQ shooters in the last couple of years.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
year low, meeting our sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know,
I think RFK is trying to do that by
it will take time
punishing food companies
to feel
for
the
feeding
full
us
impact
poison.
of all we've done
You're not
together.
doing much anything, nor are the
The
Democrats.
seeds are planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration, a single term. More people have health care than ever before.
They proved that was all
Overseas,
artificial.
we strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free, and we pulled ahead of our competition with China, and so
What?
much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together.
He's just saying
for
stuff
the
now.
American people. And I wish the incoming administration success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I've upheld my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example.
By
I have no
killing
doubt
Donald.
that America's in a position to continue to succeed.
That is an interesting thing. Leading by example. We're talking about the guy that had the Ukraine Burisma scandal. He clearly has had dealings with China.
Yeah, the Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, peaceful transition. It was the Democrats that didn't allow National Guard units in during the 2020 transition. Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were the two that could have allowed the National Guard to have been deployed.
Well, we all know it's just crazy Trump supporters that, tried to overthrow the government without having any real plan to do so.
Mm-hmm. Ridiculous.
That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power.
Not having enough
In the hands of
diapers.
a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedom.
Like George Soros?
and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead.
You're not a child.
I mean, Elon Musk too, to some degree, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
at least he's kind of pseudo making it a fair, fair deal.
yes, but the issue that I'm having right now is he's the most powerful person in the world right now, and he's doing nothing about it. Like you're in the position of power, and you see this happening, and you're not doing anything about it. So one, you're either allowing it to happen, or two, you're not in charge.
Yeah. You're not the most powerful man in the free world,
America.
apparently.
And we've seen it before, more than a century ago. But the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. They just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn.
You
their
mean
fair
the
share.
monarchy?
You know, they were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen. And we've got to do that again. In the last 4 years,
Okay.
that's exactly.
Everything that he has done has like destroyed the middle class. Like his inflation, the inflation that he's caused, the getting rid of American energy, all that results in a smaller middle class. Like if you put tax on energy, guess what? The cost of shipping goes up. So the cost of food goes up because it costs more to get the food to where you're going. This is why energy is, I mean, Landman, if you haven't seen Landman or you haven't been watching like those little clips of Landman
With Billy
on
Bob
TV where,
Thornton.
with Billy Bob Thornton wrecking people, that is literally why energy prices are going up and why your food and everything else is going up. If energy goes up, everything goes up with it because energy is how you get things to places. It's ridiculous. Like everything he has done has hurt the middle class. Like all the climate stuff that he has done and initiated has hurt the middle class. That's all it does. It's like, oh, your gas guzzling car is hurting you, so we're going to tax it more. Oh, you tax cars more, you're going to tax gas more, you're going to tax fuel more. All that is adding up to people
You're going
who
to tax
drive.
the way that fuel gets to those locations. I mean, again, it's insane. Everything they do hurts the middle class, and it really hurts the poor. But I mean, again, then you have the really poor who are all on welfare, and we're paying for them anyway.
Yep. So everything that they do hurts the middle class. You know why Democrats are always like, the middle class is disappearing. Yes, and the Democratic Party is the reason it's disappearing. It's either going to extremely wealthy, which is a very few amount of people, or two, it's extremely poor now. So you're either poor or wealthy. There is no middle class, and it's because of Democratic policies.
Yep.
And everyone's like, and all the Democrats just go, no, it's because of corporations being all corporation-y. No, corporations have to adjust to the prices of everything else. So if the price of gas goes up, they also have to adjust.
Yeah, I mean, again, if the cost of energy goes up, the cost that, Amazon, if the cost of fuel goes up, the cost of all your products on Amazon are going up because it costs more money to ship it to you.
Yep.
Period.
And that doesn't go to that level of thinking. That's first tier thinking. They just go, corporations made my prices go up.
Well,
That's
it's the same level of thinking that the insurance commissioner, the gay communist in California was like going, I'm going to force insurance companies to not raise rates on homes. So it's like, well, hey, insurance company go, if we can't charge this rate on a house, we will not be able to turn a profit in our company in order to justify being and doing business in this state. And then they go, we don't care. We don't care about your profits. Well, then they go, I guess then you don't care about us doing business. We'll just terminate all the policies here in the state. And that's what happened.
Yep. Imagine that.
Exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules. Pay their fair share of taxes.
Fair share.
So much is at stake.
What is the fair
Right
share?
now. The
Is there a number?
Taxed at 40% right now.
Yeah.
That's how much they're taxing you. If they were almost to the point where they're almost about to take away 50% of your income. How much more taxes could you possibly pay?
Yeah.
God.
The threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever.
Boom, what we're talking about right there. His climate bills have caused inflation and all these other policies to make your everyday cost of living go up. And two, if California is the most the most green,
Climate-friendly
compliant,
state.
green efficient state in the nation, and they are burning right now. So either it's not working, or two, climate change is a myth.
Yeah.
Or at least what the Democrats would call climate change, being like our effect on the environment. So what is going on? So either California's all their climate emission policies are not working, or it's a hoax.
And again, what if a lightning strike caused a wildfire? Well, there were no firefighters back in the day. Like, whenever there was no man around, there were no firefighters back in the day to be like, hey, we got to put this fire out. It's like, nope, let it burn. Like, nobody's around to do anything about it. So, technically, us fighting fires is not something that we should technically be doing if you're for the natural course of climate and patterns of the earth.
Exactly.
We shouldn't be attempting to be a good stewards of the earth. Stop trying to save the forest. Let it burn. It's a natural part of it.
Yeah. It's the same thing when it comes to like wildlife. Like when people are driving around on their boats and a seal jumps on their boat, like running from a shark or a killer whale.
Yeah.
Technically, you are getting in the way
of nature
natural
running
selection.
its course.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. We've proven we don't have to choose between protecting the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both.
California would beg to differ.
Powerful forces
Absolutely.
want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest.
So would
for power and
Asheville, North
profit.
Carolina.
Yeah.
We must not be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. His farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He
One that
warned
you
us then
continue to
about, and I
fund.
quote,
Yeah. They talk about this all the time. The left always talks about the military-industrial complex. Why are you funding it? Why are you trying to go to war with Ukraine or help Ukraine in their war? Every single Democrat person I know has those little Ukrainian flags
Yeah.
in their profile pics or whatever. That is the war machine. Why are you a part of it? He is definitely a part of it with the whole Burisma scandal.
Yeah. Again, if you're not for war, if you don't want to fund the war machine, don't fund foreign conflicts. That's what we're doing. We're instead of us sending American troops over there, we are funding the building of more weapons and ammo and more weapons development technology in order to fight a war in a foreign country. Mm-hmm. Now we're just giving those weapons to the people in Ukraine. I mean, and like Tucker Carlson had that one guy on that was like going, we know that the Ukrainians actually aren't using the weapons we're giving, and they're actually selling them on the black market, and they're going back into South America.
Yep.
So it's just a way for people to get rich.
Yeah. So he immediately says, Eisenhower warned us about the the military-industrial complex. I'm funding it. He is funding it. He is directly funding it.
And I mean, it's like what Donald Trump says. He goes, who do you want to win this conflict? He goes, I just want people to stop dying. Could you say a more like neutral or positive statement? It's like, I don't care who wins it. I just want people to stop dying. I don't want death anymore. So that's where we're at right now. Go ahead and continue.
So yeah, the only thing I'd say is like, a mom just sent me a thing. Says this is the only firearm. So he passed one firearm law, expanding a few things, but it's essentially accomplished nothing.
I mean, that's what most gun laws do. It's like I remember when Dan Crenshaw went on Louder with Crowder, and he was talking about passing a red flag gun law, and like Crowder was. This is when I knew Dan Crenshaw was not a good person. Like he goes, this is going to help stop gun. And he was like, Crowder was reading the thing. Goes, all these gun laws that you're promoting here are either already on the book, or are just irrelevant. And he goes, no, this red flag, because he's so worthless, Dan Crenshaw. It's like, he's like, all these things will help. And it's like, no, it won't. He's just going to get this legislation passed so he looks good to the Democratic Party, and makes it seem like he got something accomplished. Because, again, this is what all senators do. They don't care if their bills actually help. They just want to be able to say, I passed this law and legislation that my constituents wanted passed, regardless of whether or not it's actually going to help anything.
Yeah, same with what's going on with the hearings right now. It's like the Democrats, all they're looking is for a viral clip moment for their campaign ads that they're going to run in their states.
Yeah, so I actually ran an experiment yesterday. I don't know if you noticed with the shorts that I made. You noticed that the titles in them were Elizabeth Warren owns, So I was doing the opposite.
I didn't actually notice that.
So I was doing the opposite of what the video is actually about. To see if that would get better traction in the algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. I mean, it got about the same. It's
about
probably just because our channel influence isn't that big yet. But I figured, why the heck not? Why not do it from the opposite perspective and see if we can't get more traction on it that way?
All right. Well, let's get back to the video. We're almost done.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power. End of quote. 6 decades later,
He looks tired.
I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation.
Okay, coming from the guy that literally called Facebook to tell them to censor anything negative about the COVID vaccine.
Or that preemptively reached out to Zuckerberg about the
Hunter Biden
laptops, where they said, there's some misinformation coming down the pipeline, so be ready to start censoring that, Zuck.
So,
and they did.
Yeah, they did. So this is pot meat kettle.
Yeah.
In the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered
You mean
by
bias
lies
fact-checking?
Told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security, our society, for humanity. Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work and how we protect our nation.
Jeez.
We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever.
We like to say people kind.
And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI.
That's convenient for you to say when you were making millions off of China deals. China deals with the Hunter Biden laptop.
The presidency,
China.
the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires, but by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind.
We're taxed at almost 45%. How much more you want to tax us?
Too many campaigns contributions. We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time limit, term limit.
Okay, coming from the party that has Act Blue that's pretending to donate, well, they are technically donating to like fire funds and stuff, but they're skimming like 4% off of every donation that you do through Act Blue.
Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. It's disgusting, man.
Time and term for the strongest ethics and the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court. We need to ban members of Congress from pay.
Nobody.
Well, it's really what's really funny. There, you can. What's really funny about this whole situation is the Democrats are the ones who have been in the House the longest. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's tenure alone. I mean, she was like what in her 20s when she started.
Yes.
Dianne Feinstein, who literally died in office.
All the Democratic politicians right now have served from the longest tenures. Like they're like in 60-year tenures. Like Nancy Pelosi is, Dianne Feinstein was, Chuck Schumer. That's why it's hilarious that they're always talking about, we need to get these things. These guys are lifelong politicians. All Democratic politicians are basically lifelong politicians.
I mean, I remember arguing with people like that in college. I was like, we don't need people to be in office that long. And then he was like, it was like a big Barack Obama guy. But, yeah, but we need experts in the political field to be able to navigate. I was like, why do you need an expert in the political field to navigate politics? Like, you just get somebody in there who's a hammer and just go, we're going to fix these things. It's like, no, you have to be able to negotiate and navigate the intricacies. And, it's basically just weasel words to keep weasel people in office.
Yep, pretty much.
So
we're almost done. What the heck? Where's my volume? Oh, whoops.
No president is immune.
I actually liked it without the volume
Supreme
better.
Court. We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress.
I'd just like to point out the Pelosi stock trade. Mm-hmm. If you follow Nancy Pelosi's husband, it's her husband. That's how they get around it. If you follow her husband's stock trading, you're guaranteed a return on investment.
Yeah, she has a better chance of she's better than any stockbroker on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has better odds than anybody. In fact, most politicians do.
Yeah, because they push laws.
The Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office.
Coming from China and Hunter Biden laptop and Mr. Burisma himself.
Oh, I mean, even Barack Obama bombing an American citizen in Yemen. I mean, it's convenient that they're doing it. It's like, well, we'll try to get this undone after my term.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, so that way, and then, the Democrats are like, now we're going to reinstitute it after Democrats back in office.
Not to forget that this is also Barack Obama and Joe Biden were both spying on the Trump campaign.
Yep.
In both of the election cycles. At least whenever Watergate happened, Nixon had at least the forthwith to that camera's about to die, to get out of office. So good Lord.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like what Fat Electrician says. It's never a war crime the first time.
Yeah, that's right.
The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth. It erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating. A fair shot is what makes America America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot. Not a guarantee, but just a fair shot. An even playing field.
Fair shot coming from the party that tries to regulate everything and make it dang near impossible to start a business unless you have like millions or billions of dollars to do so. So there's your fair shot, Americans.
Going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth.
Thank you.
Remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America do we believe anything is possible.
Endless possibilities to import endless amounts of immigrants, to commit endless crimes
Claremont, Delaware.
On endless taxpayer money.
This desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic.
Endless excuses to make
all around us.
For all of our endless wrongdoings.
Residents of the White House.
For all the possibilities.
I walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty, I don't know how many times. In the painting,
he's mentioned
there's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, a son of an immigrant, whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, speaks a silent universal language, one of hope that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes, we sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm. to stand the test of time.
This portable warm air blaster.
I am so sick of these commercials.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's probably about it. We don't have to finish up anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
again, talk about the biggest,
Constant struggle.
most ridiculous
Constant struggle.
farewell speech with
Short
endless
distance between
platitudes,
peril,
saying
possibility.
nothing, and flat out lying about everything.
Is the American
Again,
art of dreams.
yeah, possibilities. Yeah, that's a
Always
great way of
closer
putting
than
it.
we think.
Endless possibilities of
us to
endless
make our
candidates
dreams
that could have
come
been
true.
anywhere better than you.
Let me close by stating my gratitude to so many people, to the members of my administration, as well as public service and first responders
All the
across
people,
the country.
to all the people who hid my dementia from the world, I appreciate
Yes,
you.
you guys were doing the Lord's work. You sure were. Holding me up above water while I was barely staying afloat. Golly. But yeah, let's go ahead and do some memes real quick, and then we'll get out of here.
All right. First one. Can't wait for her Kamala Harris to start her new job.
That's awesome.
She's the new clown at McDonald's.
I love it. I love it.
I do too. I do too. All right. Next. Get over here. Oh, yeah. This is talking. California DAs proposed making looting during an emergency a felony. Why isn't it already a felony?
Again, it's like that epic scene from It's Always Sunny. It's like if you want to find that real quick.
Which one? Oh,
The scene from It's
yeah,
Always Sunny.
Hang on. Always.
But yeah, it's the epic scene from It's Always Sunny where Danny DeVito's character is like going, "What do you call this?" And he shows a picture of a bunch of white people going into a Walmart or something during like an emergency situation and getting food and coming back out. And he goes, "Well, that's they're getting food to survive." And he goes, "Then what about this?" You know, he has a picture and it's a bunch of black people robbing like a Best Buy and pulling out stereo. He goes, "Well, the white people were getting food. The black people are stealing stereo equipment." And he goes, "What's the difference then?" She goes, "What are we talking about?"
So here it is.
Years ago, there was a storm in New Orleans.
Hurricane Katrina?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember it.
Okay, check this out. What do you think those people are doing? Surviving or looting?
They're surviving.
Okay. Do you remember a man named Rodney King?
Yes, of course I
Okay,
do.
the LAPD worked him over really good.
Yes.
Okay. This was taken during the Rodney King riots. What do you think these people are doing? Looting or surviving?
Well, they're looting.
Of course. Well, it's the media, see? When it's white people, it's survival, and when it's black people, it's looting.
No, Frank, it's because the white people are stealing bread and the black people are stealing speakers. If the white people were stealing stereo equipment, I would say they were looting too.
How do you know the blacks don't have bread in those speakers?
What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
What are we talking about?
Oh, it's so good. I mean, that's what it's like arguing with Democrats, man. Like, you're just like, what are we talking about here? Like, nobody's going to criticize anybody for going into the store if the power's out and they have no way to feed their families. Like I said, it's a far more understandable crime than if you're going in and stealing like a 20-inch or 50-inch plasma screen TV during a crisis situation. It's like one person's trying to get food, another person's stealing stuff to sell online later.
Mm-hmm. Which brings me to the next meme is Californians wondering why their 45% tax, wondering what their 45% taxes got them.
Nothing! You lose! Good day, sir! You get nothing!
And he's Gavin Newsom. Isn't that great?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's a great meme right there. That's just perfect. That sums up everything going on. I mean, that's what your 45% tax rate gets you, man. Nothing.
The state that has the greenest energy policies you could possibly imagine, and they're burning.
And it doesn't get you water to fight fires on your homes. It doesn't get you emergency services. What the hell are you paying taxes for then? I'll tell you what you're paying taxes for. You're paying taxes to, fund endless wars, to line Democrat donor pockets. That's what you're paying taxes for.
Yep. Here's this next one here. This is Don Lemon. I don't know who this lady is, but she is not a Trump fan. But she's talking about how the hostage situation was Trump's. win, not Biden's.
Yeah.
And this lady is straight up says right at the beginning of her speech that she is not a Trump supporter. So check this out.
I love that you're blocking Don Lemon's head.
Well,
Me too.
this is what I say. According to diplomats who were involved firsthand in the negotiation, President Biden refused to put any pressure on Netanyahu. And ultimately, they gave up that any deal would happen. It was, and Don, you and I talked about President Trump. I have no love, and I don't want to give Trump any credits, but I know, but I am in the business of telling the truth.
Same.
Donald Trump intervention have been monumental in making the ceasefire deal possible, and just to make people understand, President Biden not only refused on multiple occasions to put any pressure on the Prime Minister of Israel to do any deal. People who were involved in the negotiation, including Israeli negotiators, told me firsthand that very often they felt that he was more than backing the negotiating team, the Israeli negotiating team. He was backing the Prime Minister agenda and his desire to stay in office. The Israeli media and Israeli ministers, including Ben-Gvir, today confirmed that it was President Trump. Israeli media also confirmed that Netanyahu was already gave up on the hostages. He was willing to sacrifice the hostages for his political desire to stay in power. However, Donald Trump happened to be a transactional president, happened to be a transactional man. He wanted to come to the White House with a win. And that was always his approach.
Let me ask you this then. So why did they not wait until he took office, which is just going to be in about a week?
Because he didn't want to deal with these issues as he get into office. He wanted this issue to be off the table.
Roll up. Okay. I don't agree with that. I think Donald Trump would like to have started off. We know Donald Trump, the day of his inauguration or on the day to announce a ceasefire. The fact that it happened on Biden's watch, I think that leads many people to question whether it was. And look, I'm not saying that you're wrong.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you at the beginning of this? I said 100% Democrats will not give Trump credit for this. I said honest Democrats will. Partisan hack Democrats will not. Don Lemon is doing exactly what I told you. The vast majority of people who we all know those people in our friend lists on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. They're going to be like, no, even Joy Behar and all them. Like, they're not going to give Donald Trump this credit. They're going to, it was done on Biden's watch. It was Biden's policies and Biden's negotiators did it. It's like, no, it was Trump's pressure as being the new guy coming in going, you're going to have hell to pay if this does not get accomplished.
Yep.
And again, what a brilliant move by Trump. Trump doesn't want to have to waste time dealing with the Israeli-Palestine conflict. He wants to worry about dealing with problems here in America, which I love. Look, this is not our problem, but you know what? It is going to be our problem if you don't give us our damn citizens back over there.
Yep. And that's what we'll leave on that. That's just that Don Lemon is just trying to give all the credit to them, and he's not letting him have it.
It's like, Don Lemon goes, so the truth is right there in front of your eyes, and Don was like, no, Biden did it.
The only thing I'll add on to that is she tags on at the end there. She goes, but it's going to happen on the 19th, so technically Trump won't be president by the time it's finished. Mm-hmm. So he's like, he's just waiting to do this so that way when he's president, he can say it was him. And it's like, well, it's funny you say that because he says it better be done by the 19th, not the 20th. So, all right, next one. President Trump is wrong in so many ways about hydroxychloroquine. Studies are here, and here are the facts. And then study finds hydroxychloroquine helped with coronavirus patients survive better. Both from CNN.
What is it that, there was a post today or something, they might actually have it, but it's like basically all of the studies about COVID or all the things that they said were false about COVID are actually true.
Yep.
Everything. So all the stuff that they said about COVID that was false is true, and everything they said that was true about COVID was false.
A lie. Yep.
They literally flipped the switch.
Yep. Next one. This is great. Stacey Abrams, nonprofit, hit with the largest fine in state history for illegally using funds to support her 2018 bid for governor.
Wow. You're telling me unqualified people who use NGOs to support their basically their campaigns and pay their staffers and whatnot are doing bad things? Like, holy cow.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have seen it coming?
Next one here is, I love posting these ones. Like I said, whom was correct and right? Journalist versus conspiracy theorist. Hunter Biden's laptop. Journalist negative. Conspiracy theorist positive. And it's all of them. the mRNA vax harm, plandemic, lockdowns, ivermectin, HCQ efficiency, face mask being useless, social media censorship, Exteam's Island, elite pedophiles, biolabs in Ukraine, child trafficking, Russiagate, Steele dossier, Ukraine corruption.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, again, this is whenever we talk with people online, you know, we're dealing with those conversations with people. It's like, this is what we're talking about. They still think all that stuff is right. All the journalists weren't lying to them. Again, it's the why would the guy on the TV lie to me syndrome.
Yep. Then, of course, Jimmy Kimmel, being as usual, said, if Epic fails, we found at real Donald Trump's racist bone. And then Independent says Jimmy Kimmel uses N-word and wears blackface in resurfaced clips.
Yeah.
There's that. We might bring that one up tomorrow about Islam and the Crusades and all that.
Yep.
Said he's leaving office. Oh, this guy, I love this dude that's the CNN conservative anchor.
I think the way he's leaving office has been, frankly, pretty terrible. He's going to be remembered for a few things. But politically, it's mostly for when he was vice president, he and Obama sort of ushering in the Trump era initially. And then as he's leaving office as president, bringing back Trump and Trumpism stronger and more popular than ever. Today, Biden has like a 61% disapproval, and Trump is over a 50% approval and more popular, and his ideology is more popular than it's ever been. If everything you say is true, the Democrats should have had no trouble getting reelected in this election, yet they were.
It's an issue of a communications failure.
I know, and for Democrats, it's always been about communication and no introspection about the policies that led to him leaving office as one of the most unpopular presidents. When I watch this tonight, I remain astonished that he, his family, and other people around him thought he could ever run for another term. I mean, there's no way he could serve another 6 months, let alone another 4 years. The fact that they pursued that farce for as long as they did, to me, remains one of the most astonishing things about this term.
That's amazing right there. I can't believe that you're allowed to watch people poop on other people on television.
Yep. Oh, God. And then, of course, Defiant L's is always great. Harry Sithen, I'm ready to watch President Biden destroy Donald Trump in the debate tonight. Let's go, Joe. Then literally 2 days later, a 90-minute debate shouldn't neglect 3.5 years of progress.
This is who we're like. This is the kind of people we're talking about when we're saying, like, I mean, when we're talking to Democrats, it's like talking to a wall.
Yeah. Oh, here's one that we'll be going over tomorrow, but I just thought this was so great regarding COVID misinformation. Canadian doctors admit that COVID booster shot paralyzed a woman. Offer to euthanize her to make up for it.
Not only did we give you disease, we'll also give you the final cure, too.
Mm-hmm. Jesus
Holy Lord. Again, this is what free healthcare gets you guys. Go back down. Just show it one more time. That is what free healthcare looks like. That right there. That is your government healthcare plan right there.
Mm-hmm.
We will give you the disease, and then we will offer you the final cure.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. That's what it is. Euthanasia. If we screw up, sorry, we'll just euthanize you. Now,
simple solution, quick fix, really.
These next ones are a little spicy.
Okay.
Biology teachers after January 20th teaching the truth. Charlie Sheen from Scary Movie 3 or whatever it is.
Oh my God, that's
is
awesome.
The best thing ever.
That's awesome.
Next one we have here. Oh, this one's good too. My face when the HR tells me memes offended the obese lesbian that sits next to me.
Look at that classic 80s hair.
Mel Gibson. Oh,
man. What a legend, dude. Holy cow.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We might start the next one with that. As I said, that's healthcare. We're going to talk about healthcare tomorrow. So most of these other ones are all healthcare related, which that's our show for tomorrow is basically a healthcare episode. I won't give away what the other part of it is, but
for sure. But did you have any other videos or anything like that we missed or didn't?
I mean, there's only these two, which, I mean, they're not kind of related to our topic, but how did you want me to end it? I can end it with any one of these three right here.
Well, you can play.
This was your Trump one that you sent Trump with, what's that guy's name?
That's how I want to end it.
That's how you want to end it?
Why
Okay,
don't we
that's
watch
cool.
those other two real quick, and then we'll...
I already got rid of it. We'll show them on tomorrow's show. We're already running way over.
Okay.
So let me get back to our big screen here, and you can go ahead and start.
All right,
getting
everyone.
this ready.
Thanks for watching. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's what we've got for you today, and all I've got to say is bye, Biden, and God bless you.
See you later, everybody. And transition.
Thank you, John, for making it all the way here from the great state of Pennsylvania. Wonderful state, a lot of Amish. There's also John DuPont, shot a man with a gun. Very sad, very sad. Absolutely, John, absolutely. Absolutely. You're a fascinating man, John. You have a lovely wife. She's very Hispanic. Very Hispanic wife. Rocky Road? John, you're a fascinating man. And you're gonna live with me now. Live with Trump? Yes, Trump loves John. Trump loves John. Yes. John loves Trump. Yes. Come to me now. Yes, come to me, John.